welcome to the Book Bunch. My name is Sam. Today we are going to be going through my 2022 book wish list for the year. So this will be all of the books that I hope to get my hands on this year, and I hope I'll be able to find for a good price or get gifted to me if I'm lucky enough. That would be a huge blessing as well. But we are going to get right into it, and I'm going to start the video off with all the series that I would like to get the rest of because I already have one or two in the series. So the first series that I would like to get my hands on the rest of is the Poppy War series. I only have the first one of this series, so I would love to get the other ones in it so that I can complete the set and obviously finish the story. So I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on that one. I then would like to get from book 3 onwards of the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks. I do have the first two already on my shelf, but I would like to get the rest. Then there is the Witcher series. I currently have the first two volumes, which are both short stories, and then I have the first of the linear series, and then I need to get the rest of those ones. I have read all three in my collection and I love them so much, and I really hope I can get my hands on the rest of them. I'm hoping to get secondhand copies of this series because my other ones are secondhand, so if I could finish the series out with secondhand copies, that would be great. I also only have the first book in the Red Rising series and the first book in the Shadow and Bone series, so I would like to complete those sets as well. I believe those are both trilogies, but I could be wrong. Red Rising might have more than 3, but I know that everyone raves about the second book, so I'm super excited about that one. And the only other series that I need to complete that I haven't already finished is the Hudson series by Virginia Andrews. I have the first book, Rain, and it is a really old series. It's actually no longer being published, so I'm going to struggle to get my hands on the rest of it, but I really enjoyed Rain when I did read it, so much so that I would like to continue the series, and I've actually been searching for the rest of it for probably the last 8 or so years because I bought it ages ago. I think I got it for like $5 in Kmart one time or something like that, and I've never been able to get my hands on the rest of it. I've scoured far and low and I haven't been able to find it even at secondhand shops, so if you guys know where I can get the rest of them, I'd very much appreciate your thoughts in the comments below, and any links you can send me that will help in my search. There's also a few series that I wouldn't mind starting this year. I haven't got any of the Fable duology, which I would really like to get. I've heard some really good things. Also wouldn't mind starting the Greenbone saga with Jade City and all of that. I know it's a huge deal on BookTok and BookTube, but I haven't actually read any of it. I haven't jumped on the train, but I'd really love to do that this year. I've also seen a lot of good reviews by booktubers and things like that about the Bone Shard Daughter series. And from the premise, it sounds really interesting. So basically, the Bone Shard Daughter is about this princess who loses all of her memories, and her dad, who is the king, is kind of upset about it and trying to get her to remember because she's forgotten how to use her powers in regards to the Bone Shard, which is their form of magic. And I think only the royalty can use it or something like that. And she's basically next in line on the throne, and if she can't like remember or relearn it or whatever, they're kind of going to be in trouble. So I'm really interested in that premise. I think it sounds really interesting, so I'd love to give that one a read this year too if I can get my hands on it. There's also some that I would like to get that I don't necessarily feel the need to get the whole series of to start with, or that I stand alone. So I only need to get the one book anyway. The first one in that would be Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I know he does have plans to actually make that into a series with more than the one book in the end, but at the moment, from at least the last update I had, there's only one in the series. I also wouldn't mind reading The Black Veins by Ashia Monet. I haven't really heard much about it. I saw one booktuber very briefly talk about it sometime at the start of last year. They didn't really give much detail. They just said it was really good. So I wouldn't mind getting that if you guys recommend that one as well. So let me know in the comments below if you've read it, if you think it's any good, because I am hoping to pick that one up if it is any good. There's also quite a few sci-fi books that I would love to get this year. I would love to get Hyperion and Speaker of the Dead. I also wouldn't mind getting Neon Leviathan. And in regards to Speaker of the Dead, I know that's part of a full series, but from what I've heard, people prefer the second one and you can kind of read it on its own. So I think I might go down that route rather than reading the entire series, but that might actually come down to price. Like if it's better off, like if financially I'm better off getting the whole series rather than just getting the standalone, I'll probably get the whole series. But yeah, at this stage I think I'll just get the second book, which is Speaker of the Dead, because yeah, I've heard amazing things about that, so we'll see how we go. Of course, the Children of Time series, I think I'll just get the first one for now and see how I go, because as far as I'm aware, it's relatively substantial series. I also wouldn't mind getting The Wolf and the Woodsman and Beast and Beauty. Both of them have not been released in Australia yet. I know they have been like pre-released and other kind of releases overseas, but for right now they're actually not available in Australia. So I'm hoping when they come available later on this year, I'll be able to pick those ones up too, because they both sound really interesting to me and they both have super amazing covers. I also would love to get Kate Moore's other book, The Woman They Could Not Silence. I read Radium Girls at the end of last year. It was phenomenal. I haven't ever read a nonfiction that is formatted in that way, and I really loved it. It was really enjoyable. I learnt so much, and even though I was reading about something that was really horrific and like there's so much injustice, it wasn't even funny, but like even though you're reading those heavy topics, you don't at any point feel so weighed down by kind of the sorrow of reading that you can't continue. And I think that's important when you're trying to read something that is important for us to know and for us to learn about, that it doesn't kind of, I don't know, affect your mental health so severely that you can't read on. So I'm glad that Kate Moore writes the way she does, because it does encourage you to keep reading and wanting to know more. And it does encourage you to read her other books as well. So I would love to get a hold of The Woman They Could Not Silence. I've also heard some good things about a couple of other series. One is Fireborn, the other is The Ninth Reign. I don't know if I will get the entire series. I don't really know if it's on my radar for this year to get the whole series, but I wouldn't mind picking up the first ones just so I can see how they are, if they are to my taste, and then if they are, I'll pick up the rest of them. I also want to do the same thing for A Deadly Education. I've heard really amazing reviews of A Deadly Education, some not like above average reviews of the second book, but they're not nearly as good as the first. So I might kind of treat it as a standalone if I can and just read the first one of that series, just because I don't want to read on if I'm going to get disappointed. And if other people have been disappointed, there's a good chance that I would be too. So I'll just see how I go with the first one. And yeah, we might just stop with that one. There's also a bunch of classics I would like to get my hands on. There are ones that I would like to get specific covers for, because with classic books, you can get some really beautiful covers. and then some not so beautiful covers, and then some hideous covers. So I'd love to get some of the really nice covers so that I can display them on my shelf. I do read my classic books, so to also be able to display them would be a huge bonus rather than just having the plain penguin orange. I have been collecting the penguin orange books because I do like them, but I think it would be nice to have a couple of special editions. So I'd like to get 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. I'd also like to get Pollyanna, which I have not read before, but I have heard good things about. It gives you kind of Anna Green Gables vibes from what I understand, and like Little Women and all of that, which Little Women is another one I wouldn't mind getting a special edition of. So also The Wind in the Willows. I love that movie, so I would love to get a copy of the book because I've never actually read the original. I've only seen the film adaptation, so I'd love to get my hands on that too. I'd also like to get the complete fairy tales of Hans Christian Andersen. I already have a complete series of the Grimm brothers, but I don't have Hans Christian Andersen, and I love Hans Christian Andersen's versions of the fairy tales, the originals. I like that his are mostly happy compared to the Grimm brothers, where all of theirs are really horrible. So yeah, I'd really like to get some. I also have a little daughter, so I'd love to be able to read them to her as she starts getting a bit older and like can start understanding the fairy tales and different things like that. I think that would be really special to share that with her. And finally, the only other book on my list at the moment is Murder Must Advertise. I've had no reviews of this. I saw this pop up on Amazon and it just sounded so good that I kind of just wanted to pick up a copy of it. And the cover was really cool too. So it basically is just a cover buy for me. I kind of don't want to spoil it by reading too much into it. I think I'll just get a copy because I think it was only like $10 or something when I saw it online. So I might just pick that one up, see if I like it. I mean, worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I can donate it like I do with all of the books that I no longer want to keep on my shelves. But yeah, we'll see how we go. But that is all the books I currently have the desire to pick up this year. That list is 100% going to change and going to expand over the year because pretty much anytime I watch a YouTube video, someone will mention something that sounds amazing and I end up adding it to the list. I also haven't had a look into the new Christian books I'd like to get this year. I know I'll definitely be picking some up, but I'm not too sure what ones I want yet. But I'm sure you guys will see my hauls when I start picking things up as well on the channel. But I hope that you guys have a great week and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!